Hey, what's up? Okay, so I wanted to talk about, I don't really want to call it conspiracy theories because it's not conspiracy theories. This is more or less a prediction and a package of information I'm putting together. So when I get into the story, I'm going to talk a little bit coded. So you got to read between the lines because of the censorship on this platform. So I want to get into what's been going on for the last couple years. Now, the whole world was plagued with this event, that started a couple years ago. I'm not going to mention the name of what it is. You know what it is. We're all currently living in this current state where everybody has a fear of something invisible. So I want to go into some information that I know. I'm an Aries, and if you read an Aries description, I'm not sure where you'll find it. You might see that it says that Aries likes to store random information and tidbits. Other people might say it's like autism, where you store so many random bits of information that other people don't think about, and people wonder, they wonder, why are you storing certain little tidbits of information? So when I was 17, I graduated high school early. I remember it was March, and in March I immediately started college. I went to ITT Tech. And I remember in my class, I was taking up electrical engineering, and the teacher was telling us about LEDs. And this was in 1995. And the teacher said, we could use LEDs for everything. We don't actually need light bulbs. And you don't need electricity either. He was like, you can run LEDs off of radio frequencies. And he was like, imagine a world where you don't have to buy headlights for your car. You can have LEDs, or you don't have to buy light bulbs. You can have LEDs. And for some reason, I always just remember that. It just stuck in my head, like, you're going to need this later. So fast forward a week ago, it's July 2023. I'm at the gym. So for about a couple months, I kept noticing when I go to certain places or any places that have LED lights, I would see like these little shadows moving. It looked like flies or flying around me sometimes, or just one particular fly. And I'm looking around, and I don't see a fly. But I know out the corner of my eye, I saw, something black move. And I'm not talking about those little eye gobbler, what do they call those things? Those little things that are swimming on your eye that you can sometimes see when you're out in the sun, in sunlight. You'll see the little things, eye floaties. It's not eye floaties. So last week I was at the gym and I was on a leg press, and I did a quick, look up. But I look back down, and at the top, in the ceiling of the gym, they have these giant LED lights. So I never look at them because they're real bright, but I just blinked up, looked down, and the image of the LED burned into my retina. So I closed my eyes, and that burnt image started focusing and became clear with my eyes closed. And the shape of the LED light, it actually looked like a hand. It looked like a circle with lines going up. It looked like a neon hand. So I'm just sitting there with my eyes closed, trying to figure out, why did it become in focus or become focused with my eyes closed? But when I opened my eyes, the image was still there, but it was blurry and I could see it. And I just kind of sat there for 30 more seconds, 40 more seconds. I got my eyes closed. And I was like, let me finish my set. I could see that same neon hand image. Now it was black and it was on the wall and it was slowly going up. And this is out the corner of my eye. And I look and I could still see this image. So I was like, that was weird. That wasn't eye floaty. It wasn't floating. It was moving totally separate from how my eyes were moving. My eyes were focused on a mirror on the wall, but out my peripheral, I could still see this hand move, stop, then it moved up again. I'm like, okay, that's not eye floaties. And then yesterday, I see a video about a guy talking about LEDs emitting radio frequencies. And this new neighborhood that I live in, I noticed as I drive in the city, there were a lot of LED lights. And at night, they were purple. So I looked that up. I looked that up on the internet. And of course, there's conspiracy theories on that. And the excuse is, oh, those are just defective lights that are broken. They're not operating correctly and it's displaying purple. And I know that's not true. But I then went back to another memory before all of this planned event had happened. You know, the whole thing that had us locked in. I actually didn't stay locked in. I went outside every day and I went out at night almost every day. And the thing that I noticed is for the last couple of years now, there's been this mist, or some people might think that it's smog, that lingers and that flows in at night. And some people see it as an overcast. Like if you notice when the sun is going down, you can't actually see the stars. And most of the time there's this weird, dark, grayish overcast. And it kind of disappears once the sun goes down. Now all of a sudden you can see the lights. Most people probably don't even notice this. Some people might think that it's fog. They might think that it's humidity. That's not what it is. You're actually walking in a material which operates like a screen. So if you can kind of put one and two together, you know what I'm about to talk about. One of the things, I have a background in the food industry, distribution, and I know a lot about how pharmaceuticals work as well. So in order for me to learn how pharmaceuticals work, I had to learn about how the body inside of the body actually reads light codes, just like a computer. Like if you put a CD in a CD drive, it reads a certain bandwidth of light and it sends back information. That's what the body does. So when you put crystals, which that's what pills are, any liquid, most liquid medications are a liquid crystal. Pills are crystals shaped into the form of a pill. They might be encased in a coating that passes the digestive system so that it can be read within the large intestines. So the things you eat can reprogram your body, reprogram your eyes. Then you have a base, which is like a screen. Then you have devices that have radio frequencies that transmit and can also pick up. So you're surrounded by devices that transmit light vibrations, frequencies. And then I was able to put one and two together. Oh, okay. This is how they do the UFO thing. Because I kept wondering, like, how are they gonna, fool the people with UFOs and aliens? And we have all these 4K cameras and phones. Then I did some more research and I found out mostly all cell phones have had AI on it for years. AI that corrects images, insert images. I've taken pictures, video, audio on my phone and had certain things removed from my phone that I didn't even delete. I think if you look up the Samsung phone and look up the moon thing, you'll see how they artificially insert a clear image of the moon into your phone if you take a picture of the moon. So I was like, wow. And then I went into the mode of, I don't want to play this game of conspiracy theory. Even though I like doing puzzles and games and I realized this dimension is a game, I got to the point of, I don't want to participate in this particular game. It's getting old of me trying to figure out things and validate information. I could do that every day, all day. And when I look at certain people around me that, you know, they get sick and they take these tests, and it's weird because we actually have books and information available to the public that tells you that none of this is real, but yet I still see people every day getting sick, living their lives based on this information that is told to you. And like I said, that's cool. Everybody has to go through their process. That's their life. That's their universe. But what about us that just sit back and watch? We sit back and watch this movie in this dimension. And then we're in some ways forced to participate sometimes. And that's where I'm at. I'm kind of like, I don't want to be forced to participate in this movie, in this video game. And part of me, you know, my intuition is like, you know, just, you can speak about it, but then the ego kind of goes, man, you really are smarter than everybody else. You pay attention to a lot of different things, and why try to help people? You know, what's the point? You know the information, so keep it for yourself. That's how the ego kind of talks. So I've been thinking about both of that, the intuition and the ego, how I view things, these conspiracy theories, and it's just like, wow, it doesn't even matter, because right now I've been going through this phase of my timeline has been changing so dramatically. I just had an incident last week where I was watching the Barbie trailer and the lead actress in the movie. In my timeline, that is not her current name that she has right now. That is not who I remember her being. Her name was different. It was closer to like Presley or Presley, her last name. And I went on Google trying to find, like, did she get married? Did she change her name? Because that's not the name I remember her as. Because I remember a lot of her movies. She has a very unique look. And then I was just looking at everything around me and the interaction of people. And I'm like, wow, my matrix is actually changing. So since my matrix around me is changing, why keep feeding old thoughts or old ways into the old timeline? I'm trying to figure out this new timeline that I'm in. So I basically told that story to say this, you know, I realize how distracted people are with all these distractions and fear tactics, to where you don't pay attention to subtle information, like information about LEDs, information about the body. And it's not just information, it's just like, pay attention to the things around you. how often do you actually look up or look at the sky or pay attention to clouds? How often do you pay attention to realize that there's no birds? You know, as a kid, I used to just go to the playground, you lay on your back and you watch the birds basically swim in the air. You will see all these clusters of birds were like this mass, and they would just make all these shapes and turns. It was just amazing. And now in 2023, I haven't seen that probably since I was 10, maybe 11 years old. So it's been about over 30 years since I've seen, you know, flocks of birds and clusters of birds flying. It's been about 30 years since I've seen real clouds. And to be able to look up in the sky and see all the different layers of the atmosphere. As a child, I even checked this on Google too. When I was around about 10, 11, I remember people used to gather behind my house on the 4th of July. Behind my house was a school and a schoolyard. And I think when I checked it, my house was about almost 10 miles away from the St. Louis Arch. And people used to gather up there to watch the fireworks 10 miles away, to look at the fireworks in downtown St. Louis. And it was clear and it looked close. It didn't look like it was 10 miles away. But if I go to that same location today, you can't even see downtown St. Louis from that point. I believe it was about 8.8 miles when I looked on Google, and you can't trust Google either. So that's why I averaged it out to about 10 miles. So I was like, wow, I used to be able to see that far and see clear and see the buildings and see the arch and see the fireworks and see the whole display from 10 miles away. And there would be carloads of people parked up there watching this same event. So I was like, wow, things have really changed. So how often do you pay attention to this timeline and the things around you to even be aware of what reality is? It seems like most of the people I run into, they just believe what they're told. They don't actually think for themselves, or they're not able to teach themselves things. They have to be taught. You know, if they want to learn a subject, they're like, hey, I got to go take this class. And there's nothing wrong with doing that either. But I don't see people making an effort to actually learn on their own. And when I do find people like that, I kind of gravitate towards them. I like thinkers, critical thinkers, people that are logical, people that are aware. That's the type of energy I like to be around. So I want to leave you with this. You know, I've said this in another video too. Just take 7 days, every day, look up at the sky, different times of the day, in the morning, afternoon, and at night. Don't listen to what I say, but just observe. You take your own notes of what you see. Learn how to silence the mind. You know, don't watch TV, don't watch the news. Don't listen to social media. Just see how long you can just chill without listening to something. It's very hard to do. And try to do a whole day of just silence. That's one of the things I did, was got some noise cancellation headphones, put them over my ears, pressed it down so I couldn't hear anything, and just spend my day like that, just to silence my thoughts and let the true thoughts come through. So I'm gonna end it on that note, and I'm gonna holler at you guys later.